My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity, theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
U.S.C.
These are demons stalking with impossible light. DG56, G44, co-conspiring in murder and doing so. These are demons whose 9VIV456, whose light activity becomes more ridiculous, more impossible,
meaning more targeting, 9DMU340, as they are demons who are not engaged in traffic, just driving by, ignorant of you, but they're engaged in stalking you, which is targeting you in an environment which proves it, and they're doing so while they are aware of the fact that you are even documenting, which infuriates psychopathic serial killers who are targeting with impossible light. I'm capturing images of their license plates. I'm showing you the demons that are stopping on the side of the road, engaging in conspicuous stalking and surveillance. They're doing so while the sex offense remains underway, 9KAP 253, sharing in that pattern of conduct. Not a coincidence. It's also supernatural. It's not a coincidence. They're engaging in that psychopathic pacing while they over and under majority are pacing behind me on the sidewalk. They're engaging in that 5XNB324 is a car full of demons who are conspiring murder. Those that are doing so over and under the age of majority. This is the city of Ontario engaged surveillance. These are psychopaths who are gang stalking, and they want to appear outwardly as though they are focused on something else. That is the pattern of conduct. The city of Ontario is engaged in psychopathic pacing. The city of Ontario is a conspirator of murder. The city of Ontario is engaged in certifiable, mentally ill, and demented conduct of stalking with light. The entire people. This is P.O.C. demons. This is gang violence. P.O.C. This is the same exact conduct at nightfall, by the way, where the entity is engaging in what is driving, and you're supposed to believe that those are headlights that then shoot across the wall and cause my multiple shadows that are upright, projected on the wall to vacillate. It's not sunlight. That's not the sun. And this is psychopathic pacing, 9UMH751, including while you see the demon walk through it. They're monitoring together. These are the demons that commit murder. I just want to be clear. And this is, again, exposing to you what are satanic rituals and its criminal activity. But this is how they engage in committing murder as well. 9EKV470. Like I stated, the more that I document, the more that they engage in pacing. The foot traffic increases. The light activity increases. And what you'll also see in my images is the fake sun that's staying here. All right. Remember, I captured video yesterday at 7:29, 7:37 a.m. It is 8:47 a.m. Fake sun in the same position. And you'll see the fake sun in my images where I'm showing you the fake sun is shining. And then it is then hiding itself as I begin taking pictures. The more that I document them, the fake sun begins shining brighter. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal monitoring conduct, stalking with light, engaging in what is the demons that behave as animals. They engage in communicating that threat through the environment and their behavior, 7BFZ659. And it's all accomplishing what is criminal monitoring, which is the act committed by a public entity in furtherance of murdering you, monitoring you, which is threatening, terrorizing conduct by an entity of the mentally ill. P.O.C. license plate 8XJK125. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct while they are indeed engaged in targeting. That is the inexplicable coexistence of engineered light moving across the wall at a distance from the street while they are driving south on the road, okay? And they're doing so in the shade. 6AAN762. And I've been capturing this pattern of conduct for years. It's not only supernatural, impossible to occur, that's how you have what is inexplicable, okay? That inexplicable 8GSF430 coexistence with being in the presence, and that inexplicable activity is speaking to what is not a coincidence, but it is the pattern. The population, the city, the state is engaged in stalking. And the city and the state, the county are stalking because they are engaging in what is criminal monitoring. Criminal monitoring is demonic. That's what that light activity is. They're doing it under the fake sun, which remains here. Remember, Jay Sandoval is threatening a kidnapping, as I'm documenting, at 9:40, 9:50 in the morning. This is where the entity keeps a fake sun, but not when I go to the Ontario Town Square, which is on the opposite side of this and this apartment building, downtown Ontario luxury apartment, where this fake sun moves as I move, and the demons are then stalking with impossible light. The demons of the city of Ontario, psychopaths that are showing that Paul Leon is an enemy of this country. He is unfit to be in office, while serial killers that are demon possessed are wearing orange vests, digging in the dirt and stalking with light, stalking in the path, engaging in the conspiracy to commit murder as an entity with the demons that are pacing all around. License 8WEK194, which the city of Ontario is engaged in the psychopathic pacing as well. This is P.O.C. This is what you need to pay attention to, because these are the demons that are going into mental wards. They're going to be deported out of this country. They're going to be separated from minor children. They are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and it is exposing the threat that they are to themselves and the public, including while you're looking at the demonic pattern of stalking with light. This is where the airport is stalking. Demons that are engaging in certifiable conduct, such as stalking with light, stalking under the fake sun, are engaging in certifiable conduct, psychotic conduct, such as stalking in planes and helicopters. 8RIM070, and they do so in furtherance of murdering you. Okay, this is this bus stop sign right here on the floor. This is my shadow, and they have engineer light moving across the wall. And then they are doing so with the demons, the gang members that are walking, the foot traffic. That's the entity that's doing so. As I document, the more and more conduct that the entity engages in. SoCal Edison is gang stalking, and so are these. This is the P.O.C. I just want you to show you. This is engineer light. This is all methods of light activity. They're walking in it. It's flying across while they're driving by. It's under the fake sun, which moves as I move. This is engineer light that's stationary on the ground, while this demon with the Viet American Weekly with engineer light on the building. Okay, this is for the gang stalking purposes of those that by the way, I want to be clear, granted a privilege to be in this country, and they're engaged with the government. Okay, anywhere that you're going, the population, this is what's going on inside of Starbucks. Don't forget the population that's targeting me, and they know exactly where you're at. That's the P.O.C. That's activity creation while he closes the door. Moving across the wall. That's the entity that's engaging in that. That's not sunlight. And this is the pattern of conduct that's inside of Starbucks that committed kidnapping. Okay, this is the P.O.C. That is a population that is engaging in what is a conspiracy to murder. This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted. Psychopathic pacing by SoCal Edison. Just want to be clear, I point them out. They're engaging in psychopathic pacing over and over and over again. P.O.C. That's a company that is stalking. That's the pattern of conduct pursuant to the specific environment. The entities engaging in that, P.O.C., not coincidentally. And by the way, the pattern of conduct is supernatural. There is no mistaking with regard to prosecuting a public entity that has failed in accomplishing murder. And this is speaking to what is unprecedented criminal activity by government in concert with the people who are not individual citizens. They are in the shoes of the government that thought that they could accomplish terrorizing you and falsely depicting your character in doing so. And they have shown themselves to be psychopaths, serial killers, and violent sex offenders who are going to be prosecuted accordingly. This is P.O.C. Conspicuous stalking and surveillance is an unlawful threat posed by the government. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct, and they're going to be prosecuted accordingly. It is currently 8:52 a.m. at 537 North Euclid Avenue, and this is the exact same conduct that they were engaging in at nightfall, molesting with engineered light. It's not sunlight, and it's also not their headlights at nightfall when they are stalking. 9 SAU 928 POC. Alrighty, this is POC. This is Chevron. So the city of Ontario is documented, and this is a stalker rushing to cross path. Impossible light behind 7UGH024, conspiring murder. And so is the city of Ontario. What you'll see in my images, city of Ontario, stalking in the path, city of Ontario in the parking lot, stalking in the path, city of Ontario on Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is rising at 7. It is 3 hours later. It's 10:39 a.m. The fake sun is over me at this same Chevron at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The entity has the fake sun through the drive-through window of the Starbucks at 7 during day. This is the city of Ontario engaging in psychological torture. These are psychopaths that hold up their thumbs when they're being accused of what are egregious criminal acts. This is the entity that calls themselves engaging in witchcraft. You've seen them stalking me with impossible light across the downtown Ontario luxury apartments where vehicles do not shoot light. Also, the sun doesn't rise and set over one location. This is Paul Leon's criminal conduct, criminal expenditure. They're using the vehicles to engage in what is psychological torture. As you document a stalker, they will engage in what is replicating it. Everywhere you turn, you'll see that same iteration of that pattern of conduct. This is pursuant to demons who are monitored. And this is mental illness. This is the same evidence which is going to be used to put them in asylums. The waving, the thumbs up, the smiling, the casual, nonchalant. Those are the serial killers that are demon possessed. The Ontario International Airport is stalking here. The people of the state are engaged in serial molestation in this manner. It's never occurring naturally. They're under the fake sun that's remaining here for the duration of the day. They're doing so as businesses. This is the federal RICO case. This is the sex offense. This is gang violence by Mike LORENZ. And this is the same casualty with which the entity of demons commit murder. Okay? This is, again, the entity that kidnaps and then maliciously asserts defamatory content regarding your character. This is the same psychopathic conduct that they're engaging in. This is stalking, going in and purchasing from Balbier, who is gang stalking with the customers that include the city of Ontario. Vehicle 5511. The city of Ontario is engaged in stalking by the airport as well. The gang stalker that's a likely potential immigrant speaking on behalf and in concert with the city of Ontario that's engaging in what is, this is the documentation of what is the psychological torture tactics. This is what the entity does with helicopter. This is what the entity does with commercial plane. This is what you do when you document because they're going to prison. All right, this same casualty with conspiring murder is putting them in prison. This is POC. That's the entity that's going to be prosecuted. That same casual demeanor when you're threatening and conspiring, because this is conspiracy to commit murder, doing it with a thumbs up, with a smile on your face, doing so with impunity, with the demons that are monitoring in real time with them. 42785E4, 40216 Apple 4.
The ARCO employee 9TIH520, they're pacing on and off of the property of ARCO while the entity is keeping the fake sun over me. This is serial killing conduct. This is psychopathic, impossible light moving. That is indeed a demon. Satan will smile and take your life. Satan will smile and rape you. Satan will smile and accuse you of criminal acts that you have not committed. Will try to project his mental illness onto you. This is demon possession. Paul Leon is being removed from office. He's an enemy of this country, and so are the people of the state. This is P.O.C. We're going to prosecute civilly and criminally for psychological torture, criminal defamation, repeated kidnapping, and ongoing stalking and furtherance of murder by the city of Ontario, which is the state of California. License plate 1690340. That's impossible light moving across the ground. That's speaking to intent. And the demeanor, the conduct, the character of that co-conspirator of murder is directly relevant to diagnosing psychopathic disorders of the public entity that is gang stalking. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, where the sun's not over OVITT Family Community Library, where Gregory is walking in yesterday when the fake sun's on the opposite side of this apartment building, where the city of Ontario is exposing the fact that demons are operating the resources and maintaining the resources of a city, a municipality, for criminal activity, conspiring the murder of an American citizen, and they do so very casually, very cold-hearted, cold-blooded, bloodthirsty demons that are gang stalking. It's under every company name, the entity that's engaging in that. There would be no sun that's going to still be over me on this same street. That's where the bus stop is. See it? That's the bus stop right there, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they are stalking. I'm looking at that same 10:43 a.m. This is the entity that is indeed engaging in that. What you're analyzing is the behavior of psychopaths, which you need to understand. The enemies amongst us are the demon-possessed that are engaging in criminal surveillance, and it is demonic activity. This is how they have engaged in what is murdering people for decades and concealing the system. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking me. This is not witchcraft. You're looking at what is severely mentally ill behavior, and psychopaths are going into mental wards where they can eat their feces and not disturb anybody else, because that's what that is. That's a feces consumer. And he's putting Paul Leon out of office, okay? This is impeachment for gang stalking. There's no airport behind Lehman Avenue. That's a housing community. Stalk. That's, again, mental illness, criminal surveillance. Doing so while violating what is Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, and facilitating that. Paul Leon is a co-conspirator of murder, not a mayor, and he is going to be prosecuted. You need to understand that. And this is relevant to how you're going to prosecute every state, because City of Ontario is letting you know what the entire state of California is engaging in. While the fake sun's remaining on one street from 7 a.m. until the evening, OVITT Family Community Library is right here on this same street where the airport is stalking, just like they are at nightfall when I exit that venue. This is P.O.C. License 16903. All right, smiling while conspiring the murder of someone, while stalking them, while engaging in what is that criminal activity, doing so in the name of that city, of that state. That is the entity that is demon-possessed and is threatening Americans. Understand that this is a pattern of conduct. This is an entity, a system that's being exposed, and it is a threat to national security. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:45 a.m. The demon-possessed are going to prison and mental asylums, and they will be removed from every area of society where they pose a threat to the public, like the demon-possessed that are engaging in what is criminal activity, while masquerading as engaging in the in criminal expenditure also of the resources of a municipality. P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, just want you to see, where ongoing conspicuous surveillance and stalking is underway by the City of Ontario. This is the criminal expenditure of resources, which is serving to impeach domestic terrorists that are engaging in what is also psychological torture. The City of Ontario is engaging in today stalking in the same way that I'm documenting. The entity is engaging in stalking using identifiable means of what I'm referencing in my documentation. So the demon-possessed that are psychotic, they are literally not only stalking, following me, they also follow with regard to the methods that they employ based on what I expose about them at any given time. First of all, there's no airport. That's including the cartwheels over downtown Ontario luxury apartments. And as of what is 11:24, the time right now, where pacing is ongoing in and out of the entrance, where ARCO is profiting from conspiracy to murder, Starbucks is profiting, UPS is profiting, Chevron is profiting, Ontario Veterinary Hospital is profiting, the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter, engaging in the pattern of conduct that they documented this morning, and the fake sun has yet to be on the opposite side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, 320 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting yesterday, where the entity has the fake sun. by that landmark, the large clock, and then I walk to the OVITT Family Community Library. It has yet to be over that entrance, has yet to be over the town square. It has yet to move from being over the same LOCKOUT Avenue where I'm showing and those engaging in conspicuous stalking and surveillance in their vehicles, just like the city of Ontario is. And this is a government, this is a municipality engaging in what is conspicuous criminal activity, which is relevant to also psychological torture. This is documentation of what is Title 18 federal stalking. Light activity, it's occurring under the fake sun. This is facilitation while millions of people are engaging in what is keeping me together while the airport is stalking by virtue of presence. Those demons that are engaging in surveillance include that are also hostile. Everything you see is relevant to what I've exposed. The demons that are gang stalking in school buses are including themselves hostility by a mentally ill population that is together conspiring murder. And this is the entity's failed conspiracy, but it is ongoing criminal conduct. License 1690340 is stalking indeed, and a pattern of conduct shared by the entire state. Paul Leon is subject to a federal prosecution based on the unlawful threat posed to him. While the city of Ontario, the police department, the fire department, the EMTs, the municipality themselves, using the vehicles, using the resources of the city, using the airport, as you see, it is criminal surveillance. This is monitoring. Presence in that environment, which is remaining over me, which is supernatural. And it's also supernatural regarding the light activity that you see coexisting while demons like those of the city of Ontario are driving by, molesting with impossible light while they are monitoring under a fake sun. This is stalking under a fake sun, keeping your evidence under surveillance and stalking you conspicuously. This is a totally unlawful threat. That's federal prison, but it's also prosecution and impeachment of terrorists such as Paul Leon. Understand, Paul Leon is a terrorist leader in the same way that Mike Lorenz is a terrorist leader. These are demons that are going to be federally prosecuted, and they are acting on behalf of co-conspirators such as Tracy Banks, Leroy Spencer, Eric Spencer, Jason Isaac Fields, who conspired with the state, and they calculated that this would accomplish my murder. It didn't. Contrarily, they're going to prison. That's what's going to happen. They're going to federal prison. ARCO and all the businesses. Remember, Starbucks. L. Edwards is under the fake sun. You can see it inside of the window at 7:15 a.m. daylight savings time. Okay, it's 11. There's no movement of the sun, but yet on July 4, 2025, it's over me at the West Valley Detention Center at 12:51 p.m., the same time that I used to document the terrorist Paul Leon at that city hall at 12:51 p.m. And the entity has the fake sun over me, and those two juxtaposition of those venues identified by that supernatural, the evidence that the government is indeed engaged in what is targeting me, targeting in furtherance of murder. And the government is defying what is federal law, which is going to prosecute them. You're going to prison for this, okay? And this is putting the mayor out of office. These are the demons that engage in criminal defamation. Don't forget what the Latino male was stating this morning. Crazy. While you're being molested with impossible light, while they are stalking under a fake sun, they are psychotic stalking in planes and helicopters and engaging in this witchery with the light activity while they're monitoring you on your devices and you don't know about it. You're going to prison for every syllable that comes out of your face that is defamatory. Paul Leon is not remaining in office. He's not only being impeached, he's being federally prosecuted for a conspiracy to commit murder, and doing so with a level of impunity that is not only diabolical, it is unlawful. It requires prison time. All right, it is currently, by the way, 11:27 a.m. This is the entity that is monitoring. Balbier is gang stalking in relevant position where the fake sun is being hosted right here where I remain in between the infamous Chevron, ARCO, Starbucks, UNICARE Community Health Center, and this is where they're engaging in what is psychopathic pacing and repeatedly sexually violating. I want you to see this vehicle because there is no iteration where light is going to touch my person, but this is what they've been doing for hundreds of times while the city of Ontario is engaged in conspicuous surveillance and stalking. And this is what the demon-possessed do when you document them. You're going to document those tactics of psychological torture. You're not only going to civilly prosecute for criminal activity by municipalities, by departments of governments, local, state, and federal. You're also going to federal prison for the impunity with which you are targeting on behalf of a government that doesn't have private citizens. These are state actors. That's the same where I'm showing you the fake sun and they're molesting with impossible light, 7 in the morning. It is 11. I'm looking at the same location across the street, and you're looking at a government engaging in surveillance and spending money. That's what those vehicles represent. Okay, those vehicles represent the criminal expenditure, which Paul Leon is not ignorant about, and Paul Leon is going to be held accountable for it, period. Because not only are you actually not ignorant, you are not reasonably ignorant, and you're going to be removed under all circumstances, but he's going to be federally prosecuted for conspiring my murder, and Paul Leon refuses to cease targeting. That's why the entities repeatedly engage in kidnapping, repeatedly engage in criminal summoning, repeatedly engage in what is conspicuous surveillance and stalking, as though someone no one is afraid of it. I'm prosecuting and I'm documenting because he's going to prison. This is what the entity does. This is the mentally ill that are not engaged in witchcraft. They're engaged in what is criminal conduct, which the world is witnessing to inform. And this is the entity that is going to be prosecuted for that, okay? It is 11:29 a.m. This is simultaneously prosecuting the demons inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, the demons at Economy Inn, 2301 South Euclid Avenue, the demons at Woodside Senior Apartments, 408 West G Street, the demons that are maintaining that ongoing environment at Ramada, at the Ontario Airport Inn, the demons that are in Los Angeles, gang stalking me in my apartment, while a psychopath is waving high. These are the demons that are engaging in what is psychopathic conduct, murdering American citizens, and just engaging in what they are paid to do, keep you under surveillance, and they are heartless, demon-possessed psychopaths. This is exposing that mental illness that is shared by a population. Satan doesn't have a race. Satan doesn't have a conscience, okay? Satan has no clue also with regard to what's going to happen regarding prosecuting domestic terrorism in the U.S. And psychopaths like this are going to prison. And this is psychopathic, not name-calling. This is indeed the pattern of conduct that is psychopathic. And they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. The Ontario International Airport is engaged in psychopathic pacing right here. The Ontario Police engaged in stalking, harassment while they're monitoring a furtherance of murder, as I'm publishing evidence onto X this morning that's captured. You're looking at the time that happened. The fake sun hasn't moved. While they fly away and that fake sun doesn't move, it moves over me. However, that's how you know that they're targeting. You also know that they're targeting based on what I'm doing on my device while they engage in conspicuous stalking by a government, which is a threat to your life. License 9TIH 520. Conspiring murder, literally by stalking in the path, 8YAH327, engaging what is psychopathic stalking, coming as a customer, crossing path under the fake sun. And these are the legions of demons that are engaged in that. And you understand the demon possessed are utilizing company names like UPS, like ARCO, like Chevron. And they are keeping American citizens under surveillance, and it is a business in the U.S. Okay? This is the prosecution of not only the U.S. government. The U.S. government includes domestic terrorists that are no longer concealed. Paul Leon is going to be federally prosecuted for conspiracy to murder an American citizen who single-handedly proved it, while the municipality has been targeting in furtherance of my murder, psychologically torturing and sexually violating for years, okay? This is P.O.C. Remember, on the opposite side of this building, the city of Ontario, yesterday in the middle of the afternoon, who was outside of the entrance doors of that library? The fake sun remains? It's the demons of the city of Ontario that are gang stalking me right now. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and they like to wave high. They like to engage in conduct as, oh yeah, we like to murder and conspire people, because that's what you're stating. There's nothing normal and there's nothing casual about it. You are aware of the fact of the malice behind it based on the environment. A demon doesn't have to say anything, but a fool can wave and smile all they want. They're going to be diagnosed with it. And Paul Leon is going to be prosecuted with it. P.O.C. It is currently 11:32 at 434 North Euclid Avenue, where the entire city of Ontario is engaging in surveillance with the people of the state who are not. 9J XN416 is not a private citizen. That's a state actor. And the entity, thousands of them that are targeting with that government, are going to be prosecuted accordingly. P.O.C. It is currently 11:44 a.m. You're paying attention to everything that's published, not just the video that I publish on the platform YouTube and on my website, because everything in between is also relevant to the ongoing chronological ceaseless engagement and the evidence where you're witnessing the stalking by not only a public entity, but the demons themselves. The fake sun's on now the opposite side of this apartment building, downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, but not until 11. It's 11:44 a.m. Remember, when I'm coming from Stater Brothers, and at 10:17 a.m. SoCal Gas is stalking in the path, and the fake sun is in the same position while I'm walking on the sidewalk, and I walk to the OVITT Family Community Library. That's the entity that's stalking yesterday when I'm already at the entrance. I'm already inside, as a matter of fact. Remember what the entity's engaging, and that's during the 10 a.m. hour. Remember, the entity has a bunch of children, 8th and 7th graders, who are vagina monitors, demon-possessed gang stalkers, because you need to know that Satan is using vessels under the age of majority. That's going to be prosecution of a government that's contributing to the delinquency of minors who are terrorists in the United States, engaging criminal surveillance just like this, under the phenomenon. They don't have to say a word. The train is the noise that they're making, okay? The entity is doing so while conspicuously stalking as the city of Ontario in those blue vehicles, stalking as the airport. You'll see the images as I progress what is south on Euclid. That's Euclid Avenue. You also know that this is where the fake sun is, through those doors, after 4 p.m. Everybody inside of that parking garage that I just documented. Sex offenders, stalkers, which is Sarah's Regis Group, who I'm going to prosecute for everything that I've been documenting today. Everything. But I just walked through to show you that it is a ceaseless pattern of conduct, and it is the U.S. government, and that is not a private citizen. 8 Paul Apple 159. An impossible light is moving across the curb. It's a psychopath, a vagina monitor. And in this building, they're going to prison for kidnapping at 10:29 a.m. on video. Corey Walton, amongst the rest of the demons that are wearing the uniforms of gang members, the Ontario Police Department, who are on images stalking me this morning while I'm publishing evidence on the internet where they're engaged in surveillance. This is surveillance right here. Communication device, light activity, relevant positioning, a psychopath that keeps their back to you while they are obsessed with every movement, including what's going on between your legs, and they know it. They're demons in the maintenance of a fake sun that's now on the opposite side of a building where it's documented here at 8 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm already inside walking to the back and to the front, and I'm showing you what is the maintenance of that fake sun, but not when I remain at that bus stop, at that Chevron, where the city of Ontario, that is Paul Leon. Paul Leon's office is right here. And in the evening, when I'm documenting the same pattern of conduct, engineer light covers that building. There's no sunlight that's going to be touching the Ontario City Hall 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours from now. There's no sun that's in Florida either. While the entity is maintaining the evidence to prosecute Paul Leon, or the fake suns remaining over me inside of a venue of the City of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, who are engaging in surveillance and furtherance of murder as paid agents of the state. And they do so with impunity. In the same way that these demons are engaging in surveillance, use of the resources, the criminal expenditure of a mayor who will be prosecuted regarding that means of facilitation, unlawful facilitation, public corruption, prosecuted by virtue of providing the resources for a population that stalks you in City of Ontario vehicles at City of Ontario venues in furtherance of murder. 8RJG 817 is facilitated in that criminal endeavor. So is every company. Like you see, UPS, Starbucks, Chevron, ARCO. 8LQG 616. This is psychopathic pacing under the sun that wouldn't even be here. What is Jay Sandoval standing under? The gang members at 8:38 in the morning. What are the demons doing at 4 p.m. in a Southwest airline plane at 4:18 p.m.? I'm at the same address. Paul Leon is going to be prosecuted. Okay, he's going to be prosecuted, and he's engaged in criminal activity, an enemy of this country and domestic enemy. The enemies that are unveiled in this country are going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. And they're all in there waiting, lusting after my vagina while they keep it under surveillance, psychopathic pacing inside, just like they are in planes and helicopters, on foot and on vehicle. As I show you, the fake sun goes from one side of this apartment building to the other. And this is also where it sets. These are the mentally ill that engage in criminal defamation, the audacity. And what is a likely immigrant who is unwelcome in this country, and everyone like him. Because what they are doing is they're targeting American citizens and then have the audacity to criminally defame by manufacturing a narrative that you're mentally ill, and they are psychopaths. They eat feces. And that is not an exaggeration. They just don't want you to know. And Satan presupposes that gang violence, meaning all the gang members team up on hearsay, team up on defamation, team up on gossip, slander. And that's how you're going to be discarded while they conspire your murder to get away with it. Gang members, like the City of Ontario, are going to prison. That includes the people of the state. Okay? P.O.C. 17. These are the psychopaths. This is what Gregory was doing yesterday. Self-destructive suicidal conduct with the impossible light. 1704101. This is not a competition. That's not witchcraft. This is evidence to put the terrorists in prison. Paul Leon's going to be prosecuted, and that's the foolishness that's easily putting him there, because I have the evidence to establish it beyond a reasonable doubt and to a scientific degree. P.O.C. Psychopathic pacing by the City of Ontario. You need to understand this is representative of the demon, the terrorist leader of the City of Ontario that provides money, criminal facilitation to keep me under surveillance in City of Ontario vehicles. Stalking with impossible light in a City of Ontario vehicle, criminal surveillance under Title 18 in City of Ontario vehicles, inside of City of Ontario venues, not coincidentally under the fake sun, and while I'm capturing video of it. And there's the City Hall right there. This is the pattern of comedy, and this enemy is being impeached from office. Also a fake pastor. He's a demon. This is P.O.C.
All right, at the end of the day, that is gang stalking. You have Lindsay, you have Abigail, you have Taylor, Kelly, Jennifer. You have the demons that are pacing as third parties who they're stalking outside. All I do is walk inside of a building and they're stalking inside of the building. This is the evidence of the criminal monitoring that's underway while they are stalking, flying, stalking, driving, stalking, walking, stalking, sitting, while they are monitoring on devices, removing the evidence from inside of the folder where I provide shared links for all of you to look at the faces of Satan who's making noise in the background, monitoring in real time. This is the entity that is very much mentally ill, very much so obsessed that even as they are headed toward prison, the demons in them continuously cause them to keep targeting the one that's prosecuting them. They are going exactly where I am leading them, into cages. This is federal stalking under Title 18 on the internet, on devices relevant to criminal surveillance, removal of evidence from the folder, interfering with the federal investigation, while the demons inside of the venue are engaging in psychopathic pacing. The pacing is giving you context. You know that it's pacing pursuant to stalking, criminal activity, and your work schedule is evidence to prosecute you. Not protection, no defense. It's an admission that you're gang stalking in furtherance of murder. While the entity is engaged in what is removing my evidence from the folder where it is shareable for all of you to see it. I'm going to put it back in the folder. I've documented this ongoing conduct. This is also speaking to the psychopaths that they are looking to the left and the right while they're stalking with light, looking to the left or the right while the entity is stalking with planes and helicopters, clutching the hands of children while they are monitoring in real time on your devices. These are the demons, these are the criminals, these are the co-conspirators of murder who are indeed engaging in surveillance, comprehensive surveillance, and they're going to be prosecuted as the enemies of the United States that they are. It's 2:44 p.m. This is relevant to Title 18 federal stalking on the venue of the internet, where I am not removing my evidence from my folder. All right, it's not a malfunction. It is occurring while on what is also, you hear that door closure? Those are the demons of administration monitoring while I operate my device. You see what I'm doing and you hear the audible activity aboard what is Ontario Wi-Fi. The demons inside of the OVITT, they're going to prison, okay? And they're going to be subject to what are mental examinations, the much needed attention that the evidence has shown that they are requiring while their mental illness is a threat to the public. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:44 p.m.
All right, this is where the people of the state, those are psychopaths that are also stalking with light. So the psychopathic conduct of harassing you while you document them and then defaming you while you document them stalking you in furtherance of your murder with the government. That's the entity that's engaged in that. Upon my exit, sexual assault and battery, it's not headlights. They're doing it in the environment where I have multiple shadows. They're doing it at the OVITT Family Community Library where you're looking at the evidence of the fake sun that's remaining from morning until evening, remaining on what is the north side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments from the morning until the evening on the south side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. The third party, she's an overweight Latina female with a white SUV and a child in a vehicle, engaging what is harassment with the red top. She's engaging in that on behalf of the state. Those are the demons that are going to prison. The Latino male engaging in criminal defamation, driving up engaging in criminal summoning, gang stalking under the fake sun, is engaging in what is audible activity creation pursuant to monitoring me and defaming my character in doing so. Remember, it's automatically published because they're monitoring. So you're engaging in what is state action and you're doing so while you are the stalker. You're the psychopath. And these are the demons that are infuriated as you want because you're going to prison. It's the same for the demons that engage in physical violence, the same for the demons that engage in kidnapping. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:07 p.m. There's no terminals back here. This is nothing other than a housing community. And this is the Ontario Town Square, which is up this way where the fake sun is in the morning. But again, not when I'm at ARCO on the opposite side of this apartment building. And this is the Ontario City Hall. This is where doing what is harassment while you're being documented. What you're going to do as the government that's stalking and threatening the lives of, first of all, while you're conspiring the murder of American citizen, you're not going to defame them and avoid prison. You're not going to kidnap them and avoid prison. You're not going to harass them and ask stupid questions while you're monitoring. That's a threat to your life while they are psychopaths stalking you with light, molesting you, and keeping your genitalia under surveillance and stalking you inside of buildings like what they're doing at OVITT Family Community Library. This third party's vehicle license plate is on the record. The Ontario International Airport is stalking me in concert with her and doing so maliciously. She has a child in the vehicle. Those children are also terrorists. But this is speaking to the conduct that I'm publishing, that I'm documenting, and then the government is engaging in that conduct. You're looking at severe mental instability. They're going to be prosecuted for this. This is what the entity's been engaging in for years. And again, Tracy, Eric Spencer, Jason Isaac Fields, the federal government itself, that is engaged in what is ongoing gang stalking and calculated that this would result in what is defamation, torture to such a degree that I would wind up murdered. And the entity's criminal defamation would be the reason why given to the public when the gang stalkers reported on the news. Like Channel 5, gang stalking at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is going to federal prison. That's not what's happening. This is psychopathic pacing and engineer light, just like what they have when the fake sun is present from sunrise until sunset right here. This is P.O.C. Monitoring my physical movements. No takeoffs over here, but while crossing path in the engineer light. sounding, mimicking a takeoff, which is not happening over the Ontario Town Square, at various elevations, maintaining massive surveillance in the sky space. This is the OVITT family where the fake sun is on the side of this library through these windows at 4 in the evening. At the back, facing College of Law, University of Laverne College of the forgettable, corrupt institution. University of Laverne College of Law, that corrupt gang stalking law school where the fake sun is over me at 10 in the morning. The fake sun is over me at 10 in the morning, and this is stalking me on the of this downtown Ontario luxury apartments, where, in other words, the fake sun is rising and setting, which is relevant to what is stalking with light. Saris Regis Group, P.O.C. They are stalking me in concert with the airport that's stalking over here. Okay, maintaining from the same airport all manner of what is psychopathic pacing in the sky space and on the roads and the highways. It's currently 7:14 p.m. This is the entity that's engaging in what is impossible light activity while they're crossing path in the environment, demon one after another. This is what they do under the fake sun. This is informing where demons like those that are engaging in criminal defamation, those that are engaging in kidnapping, they're going to prison. So while they're engaged in this conduct, you're understanding what is the significance of those that are kidnapping, defaming, harassing, while they are stalking in the same exact manner. They are one entity, all stalking together. Mentally ill behavior is what you're looking at. Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue. Saris Regis, 320 North Euclid Avenue. The entities engaging in what is stalking with that airport, relying on the criminal activity of the people of the state. These are all demons, pacing all around. All right, the Ontario International Airport is engaging in that P.O.C. with demons that are keeping me and my genitalia under surveillance in this irreconcilable environment. They're monitoring my physical movement as I go in my bag, as I move my stuff, as I eat, as I sit down and stand up, and they're targeting with impossible light over here, just like they do with the fake sun. That's why it's through the window at the entrance at 10 o'clock, at the entrance at 8 o'clock, and also through this window at 4 p.m. Those are demons that are stalking with light, okay? And I documented many of their license plates this morning. The thousands of people that are in the conspiracy to commit murder. They will be prosecuted as the enemies of the United States that they are, okay? And this is relevant to Paul Leon. He's not a mayor. There's also no plane takeoffs over this office, where the city of Ontario, which Paul Leon is a part of, the corrupt system that I'm subject to, he's going to be removed from office. He's a light slinging gargoyle. He's one of them, and he's being removed from office. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, where the airport is stalking, 7:15 p.m. P.O.C. All right, I'm showing you the pattern while I'm remaining outside of the OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. This is the documentation that is serving multi-purposes. It's a removal, prosecution of gang stalking officials like Paul Leon, of gang stalking kidnappers like Mike Lorenz and all those gang members of that department, of the people of the state engaging in criminal summoning while they were stalking. And as you can hear the entity competing with my voice, this is seconds later, where the airport is conspicuously stalking, including while they are doing so very upfront, while it's being documented. That same blatant provision of evidence is going to be used to put the people of the state in prison that are clearly engaging in targeting with this government that is conspiring murder. The entities engaging in stalking with the people of the state that are stalking in the path at the C Street turn circle. The entities doing so right now, 8:07 p.m., what you will see captured in the images that I just captured seconds earlier at what is 8:06 p.m. in 16 seconds. I just want to be clear, they're not even taking off at that rapid rate from the airport, let alone are there any planes that are coming from the airport at 2500 Airport Road, hovering over and taking off above the Ontario City Hall, at the Ontario Senior Center, or the OVITT Family Community Library, not the Ontario Town Square, not the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard, or even the Starbucks at 706 West Holt, where my evidence is long-reaching regarding stalking by this airport. That is doing so pursuant to surveillance of my device. That's exactly what they're doing at 8:06 p.m. While I am creating the podcast, adding the videos that I just captured, you will see the people of the state stalking right in alignment under the side of the OVITT Family Community Library, where the demons are engaging in psychopathic pacing together. The airport over me, stalking, targeting. The people of the state stalking, targeting with light as they are together sharing in that pattern of conduct. And this is what they are doing. I just want you to hear again. 8:08 p.m. Psychopathic pacing. You will see again the people of the state. The plane is right over together at 8 8:08 p.m. This is real-time engagement. This is what the entity is doing at 8:06 p.m. with regard to the operation of my device. The people that stayed inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, this is what I'm documenting all day long, while Taylor and Kelly Blacken and Abigail and Alexander, Greg, you have Alex, you have Gregory, you have Mickey, you have Alan, the demon-possessed third party, well, he's actually a state actor that works in IT. You have the demons that are Brianna and Taylor, and these demons that are engaging in the P.O.C. as employees inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Gianna, those that have been engaged in the P.O.C., they are literally walking inside in the same way that the demons are driving by me with simultaneity to what I'm doing on my device, to my physical movements. Also, that's relevant to sexually motivated means of monitoring as well. Regarding my vagina, they are moving, making noise, stalking, creating light activity with that same simultaneity pursuant to monitoring me. They're doing it using commercial planes. They're doing it where you're clearly stalking from an airport that has no flights hovering over here. They're doing it while they are being documented in real time, speaking to a level of impunity regarding a government that is openly conspiring the murder of an American citizen, that is providing real-time documentation to prosecute Paul Leon, to prosecute Mike Lorenz, to prosecute the latest kidnappers of the Ontario police, for example, the Owens and Craig Hazelwood. They're going to prison, and they're doing so while the airport is the city of Ontario that is stalking me. So are the people of the state. The many, many, many license plates that I'm documenting represent the entity. You don't have to document all 38 million, however many there are that are in California, and they are all engaged in criminal surveillance. They are all. That is shown through what is supernatural surrounding me, over me, while they are not coincidentally crossing path by an airport that is stalking, targeting, and the entity that is targeting on the roads and the highways. I've shown how that pattern of conduct is underway. 8:06 p.m. You'll see the image. The demon is crossing path, doing so while with simultaneity to the demon stalking in a plane. The sound of the plane, the crossing of path, the conspicuous stalking by the plane is occurring with simultaneity to my operation of my device at 8:06 p.m. while I am adjusting my podcast. Then you're listening to it again 8:08 p.m. You're listening to it again 8:09 p.m. while I continuously document. That's that same pattern that I showed you. Once I begin documentation, the entity that is mentally ill, psychopathic, infuriated, not only because, remember, this is evidence to prosecute, but remember, while my evidence is incriminating, my evidence is simultaneously discerning demons who are hostile to being identified and exposed. So these are people who are psychotic, they are demon possessed, and while they are manifesting as demons, they are engaging in criminal activity that I am documenting. And it is identifying a very clear pattern. As I document, the light activity becomes more aggressive. The light activity becomes more, and by aggression, you are calculating and identifying the intent to threaten and harass and terrorize by the impossible light activity. It is impossible for light to shoot and touch my person and create what is vacillating light all over the place while you are in the path with that supernatural occurrence. And you're threatening my safety and my well-being while you do more of it as I use my device to document you. This is what the Ontario International Airport is committing. And you're listening to it while they're competing with my voice, and no plane takeoff. This will be a matter of prosecution in the tribunal. No takeoffs from the airport, where actual takeoffs from that airport are occurring, will ever compete with my voice while I'm sitting on the side of the library, where the airport, the Ontario International Airport, that are utilizing demons, psychopaths, that are stalking me with every gang stalking airline sharing in the city of Ontario's criminal conspiracy to keep me under surveillance and furtherance of murder in concert with the people of the state. A population of people who are demon possessed and who are sharing in the criminal conspiracy to stalk me until they commit murder. That's exactly what they are engaging in, while you see the light activity and the demon in the vehicle right in front of me, and you see the demon in the plane flying right next to me. They are doing so with simultaneity. It's also occurring where I've shown you the light activity, and this is also the very heavily documented venue where the fake sun is present from morning until evening, where that same airport is stalking me both at 8 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning at the OVITT Family Community Library, and 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, where that fake sun has not gone anywhere. And that is literally removing Florida from having any sort of ability to be a state that maintains sunshine on a daily basis when you're looking at that fake sun necessarily by virtue of prosecuting and removing the Ontario International Airport that is stalking me as a matter of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, and also to a scientific degree, where they're doing so not only under the fake sun, but with regard to the pattern of stalking with light, which is the purpose of a third party crossing path at the same time that a gang stalker is crossing path in a commercial plane.
The entity is engaging in this with regard to surveillance on my devices, and they're doing so. I want to be clear. This is what Securitas, the demon that's engaged in criminal summoning with R. Lily. You have the demon that is engaging in criminal summoning at this OVITT Family Community Library, which is also S. Casas. And you have what is the so-called Sergeant Hall, 80491, if you'll recall, right here at this same location where the airport is stalking. Those gang members are going to prison. This is exactly the criminal stalking that they were engaging in. They wear uniforms while they are stalking conspicuously, exercising authority that they do not have. And this is what is relevant when they are obviously blatantly stalking like this, psychopaths that are more focused on my vagina and engaging in what is not working, witchcraft, while I am accumulating evidence to prosecute not just them right now, but an entity that is already surrounded. This is what they're doing when they're engaging in criminal summoning with Securitas, the Latino male that's engaging in sexual assault and battery as an entity, psychopathic pacing while on a golf cart, and engaging in what is threatening and terrorizing me with that airport while I document using my device. Securitas engaged in criminal summoning. This is another demon of Securitas that's going to prison. Securitas engaged in kidnapping with the OVITT Family Community Library and criminal summoning on more than one occasion. Securitas is a domestic terrorist. Securitas is facilitating violence and psychological torture in furtherance of murder, which is state action, where the airport is openly providing evidence about what Sergeant Hall and S. Casas and R. Lily and the Securitas security guard and the people of the state, demons, stalking at Saris Regis Group, all those license plates at the Tesla Chargers. I documented them. You know what they're doing? They're stalking as an entity under a fake sun, and they're stalking at nightfall with engineered light. It's equally engineered light during the day, at night, while they are stalking as a population. And an airport in the city is speaking to what is criminal activity by a mayor who is actually a domestic enemy, conspiring the murder of American citizens for profit. While there is no airport takeoffs, and this will also be the substance of what is material to prosecute targeting by the city of Ontario, whose mayor is involved in the criminal conspiracy to murder me while I am simultaneously documenting it in order to prosecute them. The only type of predator, criminal, that engages in criminal activity on film, when you are openly exposing it, you're putting it, you're capturing it, they're monitoring your devices, they know that you're capturing evidence to publish and show everyone, including in a courtroom. The only type of predator and criminal that engages in that is one that is unhinged, one that is a threat to not just the one that they're targeting, but to the public. This is what is making up an entire airport, an entire population who are stalking with the sponsoring of the government, engaging in surveillance. Where's the fake sun rising over me at the bus stop? Where's the fake sun setting in alignment to me at this very library, which is 2 blocks south from F Street? I'm right here at C Street, where they are pacing all around and pacing above me while you are hearing planes competing with my voice. It is direct evidence to prosecute S. Casas, R. Lily, the Securitas security guard, and Sergeant Hall, who engaged in criminal summoning, stalking me, just like this entity is now. Jay Sandoval and all the gang members of the Ontario Police under the fake sun at this same OVITT Family Community Library at 8:38 a.m. The gang members at 1:07 p.m. in the middle of this interest right here, where the same OVITT Family Community Library and the demons are under what? A fake sun. In the middle of the afternoon, where I'm coming from Starbucks. And the fake sun remains over Starbucks, but that's not the case now because I'm not at Starbucks. I'm showing you how it's remaining over me across the street. Very distinct with my evidence, which you're going to look at side by side in a courtroom. What's going on inside of the Starbucks with regard to the fake sun, what's going on when I'm across the street from Starbucks at the ARCO, showing you the clear distinctions, showing you what's not moving as I don't move, showing you what remains over the roof of that Starbucks versus what's remaining over my head at the ARCO parking lot, the Chevron parking lot, what's remaining over OVITT Family Community Library, what's remaining on the north side versus the south side of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, what's remaining over my hotel room at the Ramada by Wyndham, at the Economy Inn, what's remaining over me at the American Inn, what's remaining over me at the Ontario Airport Inn, what's remaining over me in an entirely different region such as Las Vegas, Nevada, such as Alvarado Gardens, in my office, at my apartment, 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, then you're understanding the significance of a demon that is not coincidentally but pursuant to demon possession. The demons are in sync. They have the same mental illness. Those demons are in sync with regard to driving by me, walking by me inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, and stalking in the sky space. The sound is in sync, the presence is in sync. The light activity is always existing. These demons are going to prison. And an entire airport is going to be shut down and proven with regard to conspiring the murder as a business is underway with regard to murdering, systematically murdering and targeting American citizens and not maintaining a legitimate airport. That's also why the entity not only is targeting by virtue of competing with my voice when you're supposed to be taken off from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. There would never be such nuisance conduct. You also have the entity that's engaging in that conduct while you are going outside of what is even published on the Ontario International website. More relevant corroborating evidence. But it will be maintaining the case in chief. The entity is a bunch of demons. They're psychopaths that rely on criminal defamation in order to kidnap and ultimately murder you. And they all do so under the fake sun and engineer light relevant to what is monitoring. Demons, monitoring spirits who engage in criminal surveillance and they murder in the United States of America. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down. The demon-possessed are monitoring spirits and they murder people, mass murders of people, and they have targeted me, and they targeted me because I'm exposing them, not because they were ever going to be successful. They're not even intelligent enough to stop engaging in it on the internet, where everybody, including the feds and those across the globe, are witnessing how they're being exposed simultaneously and how they will never be able to engage in anything like this in secret ever again. That's what's relevant with regard to plain activity competing with my voice while I'm sitting on the side of the OVITT Family Community Library, where a lot of people are going to prison just by virtue of that evidence. Because it's relevant to what they're actually doing versus what they, again, very poor actors, as though anyone is, nobody's ignorant. Everybody knows that I've already exposed this and that the case is complete. And they're still engaging in criminal monitoring, nonetheless. So now you're looking at what has been psychopathic behavior, and you are learning about the wiles of the devil. Okay, don't ever be deceived. This is what you're learning. Don't be deceived by any illusions that Satan presents to you. They're in the library talking about the computer. Oh, I need help with learning how to use the printer. Nobody in the library knows how to do anything. I'm the only one that sits in there, and I don't need help turning the computer on. And it's not because I went to law school. It's not because I'm a formerly practicing attorney. They're in there because they're pacing back and forth to the computers in the desk. Their conversation, all of this is necessary. Nobody knows how to do anything inside of that library. Can you help me turn it off? Can you help me turn it on? I can't see the screen. Can you brighten the screen? I don't know how to print. Can you help me print? In this digital age where nothing is turned in with hard copies, everybody needs a hard copy because they need a reason to be in there. They need something to paste to, pacing back and forth to the printer, pacing back and forth to the desk, conversation, monitoring with devices when they're all in engineer light and the airport is stalking me outside of this venue, just like you're listening to. That's what they're doing with regard to monitoring even my vagina, including in the bathroom. They know what I'm doing on my device. They know what's going on between my legs. And for that, the Ontario is going to be shut down. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down. And that's a massive federal RICO case, by the way. While you are competing with my voice, that's how imbecilic the demon-possessed are, how woefully unprepared they are with regard to what has already been forfeited. And the people of the state showing a banner of mental illness, they are going to prison. Everybody that engaged, or you admitted that you called the police, thank you, you're going to prison. You're present monitoring with the police while they're committing a kidnapping, thank you, you're going to prison. I documented your images, I got your license plate, you're crossing path, you're under the fake sun, you're engaging, you see your device, you're in a relevant position, I see you, you're engaging, you're going to prison. In the same way that they are right now stalking. This is the same evidence that's putting them away. Literally. And they are giving it to me, heaping spoonfuls of it, of evidence that I don't even need. These are demons that are giving me evidence that I don't even need. My evidence from 2022 is complete. What is going on as of 2026? This is the reason why Jason Isaac Fields is going to prison. This is the reason why Leroy Lomaxis Spencer, Tracy Lemire Banks, who is not even my mother, if you've not been paying attention to my ex, and I don't mean an ex, I don't have an ex, by the way. My ex social media platform. Tracy Banks is not my biological mother. Tracy Banks is a relative, but she has been misrepresenting her identity. This is relevant to the city of Ontario stalking. This is relevant to the government that's targeting me. While you're lying about being my mommy. Why did you lie about that? Why are you lying and nobody else, not even the government, ever told me that you're not my mommy? Oh, the government that's gang stalking me didn't know that you're not my biological mother? Is that what you're going to go with when the Ontario International Airport is stalking me everywhere that I'm going? Is that what you plan on standing on? because you and those demon-possessed pilots are going to prison and you're going to be in the mental ward area. You're delusional. This was a plan that failed a long time ago. These are demons that are, again, demon possession relevant to what is in ego. Satan has a large ego, but Satan remains a loser. He is not creator of anything. He is a created spirit who will never be like God. But guess what he's still doing? He's still out here trying to take as many people down because he's going straight to hell. That's an ego that has already lost, but that's what Satan does. That's what the demon possessed are doing. They already lost. And this is epic loss, meaning you're going to prison and you're not getting out. And you're still stalking. Matter of fact, you're giving me evidence, which a federal judge is literally going to congratulate me with the size of evidence that I have. And I literally have to thank the demons, because not only did I already have my foot on your neck, you literally assisted me in rubbing it in more. This is all that they're doing while you're stalking me by airport. This is providence. The witchcraft doesn't work on me. You're not magical, you're mental. And my evidence shows that. You're going to be talking to that lady while you're locked up, while you want to defame somebody, and you are a whole feces consumer. You're out of your rabbit mind. You're never going to misspeak on anybody ever again. You're never going to speak about anybody's character. In fact, no one's going to listen to you because you're going to have an actual record regarding severe mental instability. No one's going to listen to you about anything. But this is the entity that's engaging in that. Tracy Banks is not my biological mother. She is a lying, thieving Jezebel who wants to be me. And everybody that had sex with her, they are of that same condition. They're demons, and they are also envious of me. And this is not me having to make up any details about my life in the same way I don't have to make up the fact that police are stalking me. I said that years ago. The entity has been gang stalking me and stealing my money and wealth behind my back while trying to depict me as being somebody that would ever be a drug addict that would ever engage in alcoholism, prostitution, things that are so far from me. And somehow I was doing that while I was also financing my own legal career, my own college education. I'm majoring in poli-sci, and then I'm going to law school, and nobody is supporting me doing that. Nobody. But yet I've got this whole secret background. I'm this horrendous person. Okay, I'm just living some double life. This is what you are necessarily going to have to digest, listening to Tracy Banks, who's not even truthful about who she is as a person. She's not my mother, so you go ahead and let that digest, because this is the person who's been having sex with everybody that I socialize with. And none of those people that were having sex with her, not my real mother, were telling me about their sex life with her. Yeah, no, I'm not speaking to any of these people. They're all delusional psychopaths. They are these demons that are gang stalking me. If you were wise, you wouldn't talk to them either. They're gargoyles. They're Jezebels. They're demons. They're psychopaths. They're delusional. This is not name calling. This is literally what they have, the acts that they've committed, and you're speaking to what your actions tell me about you. And I don't have to have a conference with you as to why I'm going to separate for my own safety, getting away from you. Gang stalking was a means to try to force me to be around so that they can continue to steal from me and defame me. Because when I go away and continue practicing law in another county, starting my life over, getting away from you, you have to gang stalk me in order to make sure that I can't go to work free of terrorism. So that way, that defamation that you put out there, well, you've been collecting checks in my name, stealing my identity, even lying about me being alive, lying about being my mother. Why would you be doing that? While you're having sex with my relatives? This incestuous relationship that you have with family members? These are sickos. This is relevant to the demon-possessed entity that's gang stalking me. That they know all about. This is the state system. The government knows that Tracy Banks isn't my mother. The government knows that Eric Spencer isn't my brother. Oh, he's actually a nephew. But Eric Spencer, that demon knows that too. He knows that. But they're maintaining an identity with regard to trying to cleave to me that's relevant to trying to profit off of me. When I'm dead, then you get my money. As my mother, some sort of executor over property, money that was left to me by someone else. But I have to be mentally ill in order for you to do that. This is where gang stalking comes in. All right. And I've been maintaining my life the entire time. So I have been living under a cloud. And this is unbeknownst to me. I don't know about this cloud. I don't know about it until I've been harassed and targeted so much on the job that I'm forced to resign in order to protect myself, professionally speaking, and figure out what's going on. Because I'm recognizing patterns amongst law enforcement that I don't have a relationship with. I've never been a criminal and I don't understand. I know, but I also know as a prosecutor, you have to prove what you know. But I know instinctively the police are following me around and I don't know why. And that is very disconcerting to an American citizen. That in and of itself is something that causes you to question your sanity. This is the ordinary target individual. I know better than this, and I am skilled with regard to proving it. And this is the birthing of the P.O.C. This is back in 2018, where LAPD that stole my evidence. That's not going to help Michael Moore. That's not going to help those demons of Umana engaging in criminal summoning in 2018. When you steal my evidence, would you commit kidnapping? It will be recited with regard to absolutely legitimate, equally legitimate testimony in court because it's the government. The rules are this is different. This is changing the landscape because the government is the one that's stalking, because the government's the one that's trying to frame you, because it's the government that's conspiring your murder. Or the government's not going to both be the arbiter of justice and also be the one making up the rules to serve its own criminal purposes. No, I don't think so, Satan. The government is the one that stole my evidence for you to see video of LAPD in the specific environment, engineer light all over those towers in LA, engineer light all over the place. While you're pulling me over at criminal summoning, before I labeled it, before I recognized the pattern, before I coined it, if you will. And they're engaging in that while they didn't even have reasonable suspicion. It's because you're a monitoring spirit and you knew I didn't have my seatbelt. I've explained all this already. But when this demon of LAPD, who I've also fully documented, Michael Moore gang stalking me in 2020, 2021, and 2024. And then Dominic Choi, the demon-possessed gang stalker, this corrupt official who I'm prosecuting while I'm being targeted in Ontario. I am prosecuting an entity. Remember, a pattern of conduct is speaking to not one person. It's speaking to an entity. So I am prosecuting with regard to evidence that's directly relevant to Michael Moore. Michael Moore doesn't have to be gang stalking in this black BMW at the OVITT Family Community Library right now, driving around in circles. I don't have to do that. It's the government. This is leveling the playing field for the targeted individual, American citizens. While psychopaths target you. Psychopaths who are absurd feces consumers. Their desperation is that, oh my goodness, it's better that I act crazy and you document it than you keep talking and speaking this damning evidence that I want you to talk about. That's literally that's not a tactic. It's desperation. And I'll even prosecute with that. Desperation is a threat to an American citizen when the government is stalking. There is a means to prosecute for everything. On surveillance cameras, the demons are pacing to and from the OVITT Family Community Library. How are you gang stalking me at the library when it's closed? Everybody's coming with a book. Everybody's coming, pacing at the library, pacing over and over again, and they're doing it with the airport as well. The entity is engaging in this while I've been documenting, and the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct with regard to what are lies of those who have been in my life, profiting. And guess what? They put my life up like a lottery. Whoever can take me out, they're going to win the prize. This is what Jason Isaac Fields thought he was going to accomplish. This is why they're gang stalking me by Omnitrans. This is why the demon possessor are gang stalking me at Starbucks. This is why you're gang stalking on the roads and the highways when you should be minding your business, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, but you're gang stalking me. You're all up in my vagina. Because the entity makes a business out of targeting American citizens. And you thought that they were consumed with delivering your mail and your packages. No, they're keeping you under surveillance. And at any point that you become some sort of threat or some sort of lottery meal ticket, you'll be targeted yourself. And that goes for the demons themselves as well. While they think it's funny today, ha ha ha, and you're targeted tomorrow. Not so funny. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C, and I just want to be clear. This is serving my prosecutorial purposes. While you hear plane activity competing with my voice at 215 EC Street. While you're looking at my images at 8:06 p.m. and the demons are crossing path both in the sky space and also at the C Street turn circle. They're doing so pursuant to surveillance on my devices, which is the heavily documented pattern of conduct. On this block where the fake sun focusing on me, just as is everybody else in the entire city of Ontario. Every business, every third party, every household. The demons and their demon-possessed children. Pacing around, those aren't children that are playing around and being cute and innocent. Those are monitoring spirits that are pacing back and forth. The context is the environment, and that's exactly what Satan is doing. While you are ignorant about what you're actually looking at, because you don't have the context, but you do now. You have the context now. Now, this entity is engaging in this. If you've been paying attention to my X platform, Tracy Banks is not my mother. This is informing why that is happening. Gang stalking. Tracy Banks is not my mother, who also never reported to me that I have a tremendous amount of money and property that belongs to me. It's in my name. That's also why she, who was not my mother, has also been engaged in stealing my identity. Okay? Now, perhaps when she was 20, perhaps even when she was 30, maybe when she was 40. But now at 60, you don't look anything like me. Okay? You're talking about walking around wearing diapers, and you're acting like you're Erica Lorraine Spencer, not on your best day. There's not enough glamour magic. The only one that wants that is Jason Isaac Fields. Okay? He has a thing for 60-year-old women. That's fine. But what you're not going to do is steal my identity and conspire to murder me by gang stalking, because that's what the demons are doing. And that's why they're engaging in that pattern of conduct, while they are, by the way, stealing my identity. They're engaging in what is lying about their relationship to me. You're engaging in what is lying about being my brother, lying about being my mother, lying about what it is that actually belongs to me, my money, my property. And you are engaging in that with regard to the entirety of my life. Leroy Lomax's Spencer. My father, Tracy Lemire Banks, my sister, who is actually lying about being my mother and has sex with my father. These are incestuous demons. And by the way, that's demonic. The Jezebel spirit is a perverted one. Sexual relations and sexual attraction to a blood relative, that is the mark of demon possession. That's demonic. Okay? Sexual attraction to children, demonic. Sexual attraction to animals, demonic. The entity that's engaging in sexual attraction to the same gender, demonic. Right? This is it's a perverted spirit, and these are incestuous people in my family. They're all having sex with each other, and I'm the only one that doesn't know anything about it. Okay? And I also don't know that Tracy Banks isn't even my mother. She's engaging in what is targeting me my entire life, lying about who she is. And she is, again, out of steam. You're over 60, and nobody ever is going to buy that those wrinkles and that cellulite and those lines are of me, who you don't look like me. I don't care. These demons are under the spell, but I'm not. I'm not under the spell. And so you're talking about what is lying about who you are, and everybody else sharing in that. And it's relevant to the state of California that is gang stalking me. While those who are supposed to be family are lying about their relationship to me. While the government is engaging in what is targeting me with that entity that is stalking as a whole population. It is very informative when you see a fake sun rising over me in the morning at F Street in Euclid. While the entity is lying about who are my relatives. The government that is gang stalking me knows very well that Tracy Banks isn't my mother. Knows very well when people are walking in a courtroom acting like they're me, that they're not me. They know exactly who I am. They're very much well acquainted with my vagina and what's going on in any private space, because I don't have any privacy. You're going to be prosecuted for that. That's called malice. The government hasn't been bamboozled by the people of the state. The government is targeting with the people of the state. The government needs Tracy Banks to lie about her identity, to accept that fraudulent paperwork and information. The government needs Jason Fields to misrepresent his relationship with me, which doesn't exist, but creating an engineered marriage to me. The government needs that, because the government is not, the government's the one that's sitting in that position and accepting that paperwork and then claiming, oh, okay, well, we found this is problematic. This is well, they're not even questioning the information, but you're talking about even under circumstances when you're told, oh, well, we found this and this identity fraud and stolen information, and we found that the government is engaging in surveillance. But the government is engaging in surveillance. So the government is not being tricked and had in any regard. The government relies on the people to engage in that. And in the United States, the government has been profiting off of targeting me. The government has been engaged in profiting off of that. So I just want to be clear. This is directly relevant to a prosecution. You're going to prison for stealing my identity and then thinking that you were going to have me actually murdered, and you were just going to officially, you were going to walk into my shoes and just take on my skin and just you can't even copy off of the sentences that I speak. You can't even mimic my aura, my personality, my intellectual ability. You can't use witchcraft to gain what it is that I learned in school. This is a demon that's engaged in criminal conduct, and it relied on gang stalking and furtherance of murder, while you have what are these prepubescent terrorists that are stalking under the age of majority, and they're doing so with regard to desperation. Why? Because they're scared of every syllable that I state. Their parents, their demons that give birth to them, those are the ones that are going to prison. But that's relevant to the truth that I'm speaking right now. Tracy Banks is going to prison, and so is Jason Fields. Having sex with Tracy Banks and claiming that you were under a spell, that's all legally irrelevant. I break those things down to you because you need to know context. Mental illness resides in a spirit. And by the way, those that are even developmentally challenged, they still have those same demons on them. They're acting pursuant to a same behavioral pattern. It is not a defense in court. Don't ever get that confused. This is not a Salem witch hunt. This is a prosecution. This is an investigation regarding to facts, okay? The lack of emotion and feelings and dispassionate with regard to just being fact-focused, okay? This is an entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're the ones that are shown to be psychotic. So you are going into you're going into the evidence of the pattern of conduct, which shows you to be out of your mind. You are out of your mind while you engage in a pattern of conduct that is unmistakable, clear, and concise, and it is faceless. You're talking about millions of people that are engaging in an identified P.O.C. That is impossible outside of what is a system. That level of a coincidence is impossible. The entity is engaging in this while Tracy Banks has been lying about being my birth mother. She is not, and quite frankly, it's a relief. And not only that, this is somebody that's been engaged in what is targeting me with those that have been feigning personal relationships with me, acting like you're my friend, acting like you're romantically interested or anything like that. This is, again, a role that Jason has filled, somebody that is largely irrelevant. He is Tracy Banks' sex partner. I don't care about I don't care about him, but this is relevant because this is somebody that is so deeply injected in stealing from me and defaming me and targeting me and co-conspiring with Tracy Banks and the government, abusing a position in doing so. That's why he's relevant, but he's not relevant personally. But that is also probative because that shows you how an entity is engaged in targeting me for profit. I stopped befriending Jason Fields in 2018. I have not looked back. I don't care. I don't think about him. Nobody's dreaming about him. You're talking about what it is that I'm referring to. I address it with regard to documentation of the entity that's engaging in a P.O.C. and they're doing so while they're in. Get away from my phone. Get away from my phone. Get away from my property, please. Back away from my property. I don't care. Back away from my property, though. Thank you. These are these little terrorists that are engaged in harassment, and they're doing so on behalf of the state. Remember the entity engaged in criminal summoning? And they're talking about that the entity that's yelling out that they are being hit, and the entity, nobody called the police just rapidly occurred, CEASELESS. Yeah, that's the entity that's engaging in what is harassment by children, wanting me to stomp one of their little kids out so that you can get in criminal summoning, something ridiculous like that. That's why you have demons that are under the age of majority that are stalking me. This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. nonetheless. This is relevant to what is, again, the entity that is very much fearful of what it is that I'm talking about, and it is the fact that the entity is not only engaged in gang stalking, but the relationship of those that are engaging in that pattern of conduct as those whose name that I know is relevant to that. Okay, so you seem to be very much interested in my property. Is there something you want?
This is a public place, you know that? So like, I can sit right
I'm not talking about where it is. I'm talking about being around my stuff. Are you going to steal? Are you a little thief?
No, I'm not a little
Okay, because you seem to be focused on my property.
Because I'm looking at Donald Trump. And like, you hit me last time, so like, hi guys, I'm so nice, like she hit me right
This
now.
is audible activity. This is the people of the state sending their minor children to engage in harassment.
You said I'm
This is
harassment?
P.O.C.
You kicked me
And this is
last
somebody
time,
that's
you
sitting
ass.
over here by my property, focusing on me again. This is the entity these are demons, and this is the desperation of that entity. But I just want to be clear. This is why Tracy Banks and Jason Fields are going to prison. This is what they conspired against, and I want you to be mindful of the fact that these are the demons that are pacing around inside of the library, 8th graders. That same malice, they're not ignorantly present, and the people of the state are just bringing them there, and they don't know anything about it. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct together while the entity is maintaining that specific environment where the airport is stalking, where I'm talking
talking about the fact that the government is gang stalking, or I'm talking about the fact that the entity is in the specific environment, or I'm talking about the fact that the evidence that they are giving me in heaping spoonfuls are serving my prosecutorial purposes, they send in the underage demons that are supposed to be some sort of distraction. This is showing you how I am the focus of everyone, including the demon-possessed children. Okay, they have spirits on them, and that mental illness is not under any circumstances discriminating age. That's what's behind these demons that are focusing, obsessing over my property. They're monitoring, obsessing over me, all the property everywhere else. And this is exactly what happened on video when I documented the gang stalkers under the age of majority. These are vagina monitors that are under the age of 18. Okay, these are violent offenders that are engaging in criminal activity on behalf of the state. And this is what Tracy Banks and Jason Fields and Eric Spencer and Leroy Spencer, those that have been profiting off of lying about their relationship to me and seeking to criminally defame me while I'm living my life as a college graduate, a law school graduate, an attorney out here living out what are my aspirations. And I have no idea that the entity has engaged in a whole manner of seeking to defame my character and necessarily behind my back. That's what's relevant with regard to Tracy Banks lying about her relationship toward me. This is somebody that is not my biological mother, and this is somebody that is also lying about her relationship and what she has actually been interested in, while people like Jason Isaac Fields have been aiding and conspiring my murder. Okay, this is the P.O.C. I just want to be clear. The entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, also, remember OVITT Family Community Library, Ontario police that are gang stalking with children, accuse me of molesting children while they committed kidnapping? This is relevant malice with regard to the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. criminal activity with children that they utilize as weapons, who are fully engaging in that malicious P.O.C. Don't forget about that. Because those gang members on June 16, 2022, they're engaging in criminal monitoring right now with children under the age of 18 who are focusing on me. They literally have kids stalking. That's what these little demons are doing. They're stalking a woman, a grown woman, and they're doing so out of desperation, because I'm telling you that Tracy Banks is not my biological mother, because I'm telling you that Tracy Banks has been lying about who she is, her relationship, and her relationship to my money while she's engaging in that pattern of conduct. And these little demons come around, pacing all around me on the side of the library, focusing on where I'm at, because they're engaging in what is conduct as an agency. These are third parties, okay? The fact that they're under the age of majority is relevant to the criminal acts that the entity has committed. They're the ones that have sex with little demons like these, who have the same spirit on them, engaging in criminal activity. These are demons that are going to be separated from the people of the state. These are demons that are, delinquents, and they're made delinquents by the gang stalking entity. And the entity is engaging in what is a pattern of conduct, and this is a level of desperation. So I just want you to make sure that you recognize that, because I'm going to finish what I'm speaking about. But these are the acts of desperation that the entity has been engaging in for years. And this is relevant to the evidence that I exposed, which is probative. Okay, and it shows the character of the government. It is not the character of an American citizen. You're never going to be distracted, but that's the point of it. And it's going to a level of desperation that is pathetic. Okay, you're talking about who gives birth to this? Who lets it out to engage in that? Those are the demons that are stalking me with light, stalking me as a population, monitoring my vagina, keeping engaging in what is surveillance of someone that they don't even know, and sending their demon-possessed children, who are criminals. Those are future inmates. All right, those are future pedophiles, and that's just the reality. That's what's roaming around me, stalking over the age of 18. Just so that you know, their children are stalkers, and they are stalkers. This is a dead population. This dead population bet that they were going to accomplish murdering me, while Tracy Banks, who could not care less about my well-being, is not even my mother, and she intentionally lied about her relationship for my entire life. Through this ongoing investigation is where this is developing news. But this is somebody, and you're mindful of everything, every conversation that I've ever documented with her. She's on my podcast. She's in my videos. And she's acting like she's my mother. She's been maintaining that relationship. She also acts like she's me. She's a psychopath. She also acts like she's me. But she doesn't do that in my face. She doesn't do that. She does that. That's called the fraud. She's a fraud. That's also a Jezebel spirit. She's not a prophet. She's a demon. But that's a Jezebel spirit. She's a copycat. She's a fraud. But she is literally a criminal engaging in fraudulent activity. Securitas is gang stalking me with those minor children as well, by the way, as an aside. And this is the one that engaged in criminal summoning. He's going to prison.
He likes to engage in sexual violence and terrorism with impossible light. That's what he's doing, while a demon, that's what he is, does so with the same knowledge. Knowledge is deduced from the simultaneity of the conduct. You know what I'm doing on my phone when you start stalking me conspicuously in helicopter as a pattern, not just as an anomaly, a coincidence. I document that as a pattern. You know what I'm doing when you start stalking conspicuously in planes. You know what it is that I'm doing when you start stalking with ridiculous light activity that's not even capable of happening naturally. You know exactly what I'm doing. And you document the pattern of conduct in order to establish that. And then you have a pattern that's shared by a population, no matter what city, no matter what county, no matter what state. That's the level of evidence that the P.O.C. shows. And it's relevant to surveillance because you know what I'm doing on my phone. You know what I'm doing in my home. You know what I'm doing on the job, in a closed space when nobody is there. You know what I'm doing in the bathroom stall, even when no one's in that place. Physically, that is. You know what it is that I'm doing with regard to what it is that I'm doing on the desktop computers. When you're given an illusion regarding privacy, no, there is no such privacy with regard to this demonic pattern of conduct. This is an entity of the mentally ill, and they maintain a whole illusion regarding the operation of a system that is serving Satan's makeup. Satan's makeup regarding who's mentally ill and who's not. The demons want to be on the side of deciding and ruling over who is mentally ill. And you know who's mentally ill? The ones that expose the demon possessed who are actually mentally ill. It is the exact opposite of the way in which you have been conditioned to think. Mental illness is not an anomaly amongst the population and those that have suffered some sort of severe experience and trauma and whatnot. I'm not saying it's to the exclusion of that. I'm saying that is not the norm. Oh, something happened to you and you're reacting to it, or you were born this way. And listen, the demon possessed, they're a whole population. These children, they're demons. And that's speaking to mental illness. They're engaging in the psychopathic P.O.C. They're pacing around me. They're focused on me. They're following me around. They're obsessed with me and my property. They're doing so as I start talking about information that they don't want me to speak on. As soon as I start talking about Tracy, here come the little demons pacing around me. And they're again clinging to me, where I'm at, what I'm doing as I do it. Okay, and they're little demons that are, again, the reason why I'm even saying anything to them is because they're around my property. And so if you try to steal my property, then that's a whole other problem. And this is an entity that wants to provoke something because they want me to stop speaking. This is the entity, you're going to prison. They engage in what is accusing me of criminal activity with children, and they're engaged in criminal activity with children. Okay? Just remember that, the malice behind that. They're going to prison, and it's the gang members of the Ontario Police that are stalking me every day. And they're doing so with Tracy Banks, who lied. May 29, 2025. What is C. Torres writing out on a piece of paper, which is legally relevant, regarding libelous, malicious conduct? C. Torres is a gang stalker. He's keeping my vagina under surveillance. He knows exactly what happened inside of that apartment and what did not happen. And what is he speaking to? He's speaking to Tracy Banks being my mother, that I'm physically attacking. She's not even my mother, and there was no physical attack. And she's claiming that I'm mentally ill when you're lying about being my mom and you're having sex with my father. There's some mental trauma behind what you do as you live your own fake life while you're defaming me because you're hostile about my documentation. That can tell you about yourself, and you're upset because I can discern those demons on you. But that's nobody's imagination. It's proven with tangible evidence. And just because you don't like it, just because I can do it and you can't, just because I don't have sex with people to gain favor from them or to get attention, I don't want any attention from demons. That's exactly what this is right here. Gang stalking. Attention from demons. I don't want that. You engage in criminal defamation because it serves your purposes with your fake conservatorship, your fake power of attorney over somebody that you're acting like when you're a fake mother. You're not even my mother. This needs to be known. This is why Tracy Banks has put out a contract on my life. This is why she's conspired my murder. This is why the government is stalking me, by the police, the fire department, the gang stalking EMTs, the people of the state, gang stalking me through the airport, put a price tag on my head while the population is stalking me day and night. I can't even go to the bathroom and pull my panties down without someone stalking me. Tracy Banks is the one lying about being my mother and stating that I'm attacking my mother. She's not even my mother, and that's in writing. And the entity is fully engaged in lying about her position. The entity that is gang stalking knows exactly who Tracy Banks is to me and knows that she is not my mother. C. Torres wrote out that malicious, libelous content that is published on the internet to put him in prison. And everyone else, Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, and you have The demons, the 2 partners that are with them, there's 4 of them that committed kidnapping on May 29th. They're all going to prison. And I was documented before they committed kidnapping pursuant to abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code, which a entity that's engaged in criminal surveillance does not have authority and jurisdiction under. They're committing a kidnapping pursuant to gang stalking. That is, you're making malicious assertions while you are fraudulently engaging in what is a means of seeking to steal from me. You need to maintain that narrative. You need to commit that kidnapping. You need me to be kidnapped in a facility so that you can continue to collect money on my head, while they're gang stalking me inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. Those are gang stalkers. They have the fake sign outside of the room where they kept me as a prisoner against my will, and also outside of the confines of the law. Not only with regard to what is their alternate universe where they're exercising authority that they don't have, also literally with regard to even their gang stalking tactics. In substance, in other words. You are outside of the bounds of what are you doing? You're just holding me. You're not even acting like you're a legitimate hospital. You're holding me beyond 72 hours. Why? And they don't have a reason. They just continuously engage in harassing you to try to trigger you. And that doesn't work. So why are you holding me now? Because I didn't react to any of your methods of trying to trigger. And that's also not the practice of medicine. That's what the entity is doing. I told you about the psychological torture tactics by the gang members of the Ontario Police. They'll engage in criminal summoning by somebody that already engaged in what is battering you. They'll engage in criminal summoning by somebody that's already engaged in defaming you. They'll engage in criminal summoning by somebody that's already engaged in kidnapping you on one time or another. And that person will act oblivious like they don't know. And they're doing so pursuant to what is an intent to try to trigger you, for you to act like you're just acting out pursuant to what they've already defamed you as. Feeding into what is the narrative that they have engineered when they have a whole fake conservatorship, a power of attorney over you, and you don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about wealth that belongs to you, while a government is siphoning it from you through a fake family. They're not even what they represent themselves to be. Tracy Banks isn't my mother. Eric Spencer isn't my brother. Leroy Lomax Spencer, who's got issues having sex with people in my family like Tracy Banks, acting like Eric's my brother. He's not my brother. He's my nephew. These are sickos. While they are betting that the Ontario Police can accomplish murdering me. Gang stalking. Absolutely. And it's the same with Jason Isaac Fields, who's fully engaged in seeking to profit from my demise. Every single last kidnapping, he's going to prison for it. He's going to prison for it. Remember, it's not just the gang members themselves that put the handcuffs on me and drive me from one place to another, literally the kidnapping, while you're engaging in surveillance. They're doing it as an entity. All the entity that seeks to profit from my being kidnapped and being defamed and being confined and maintaining that paper trail, defaming my name and character on paper so that they can maintain that until they ultimately engage in what is taking me out altogether. Serving for this insurance policy that they have on me, the ongoing conservatorship and power of attorneys that they have on me, the ongoing control over property that belongs to me. I'm a whole licensed attorney. I don't need you to speak for me. I would never have you speak for me. You can't even make your nouns and verbs agree. You could never advocate on my behalf. You could not represent a house cat. Like, seriously. And you're engaged in defaming me, and you necessarily had to do that behind my back like a coward. You had to do that behind my back, because look at I don't care who you are, even the government, and you're seeing what it is that I will do. You will not come and confront me and get away with it. That's why I'm prosecuting the government, the U.S. government. There is no way that Tracy Banks could have did this in my face with my knowledge, nor any of the demons that she had sex with. There's absolutely no way. And by the way, while I'm confronting it, i.e. prosecuting it all over the internet before a world of witnesses, you're witnessing how imbecilic, how ignorant they are, how disorganized they are, because they've never been exposed before, and they've never been shown to be the fools that they are. They're losers, they're thieves, they're stalkers, and they're murderers. And that's why they have the convenience to call themselves elite. That's just because you murder everybody. You're not smart. You're a murderer. You're not smart. You're not elite. You're a thief. You have sex with people while they're passed out. You have sex with people when you put spells on them without their consent. How is that sexy? How are you coveted among men or women? You're a rapist. You're a stalker. You're a thief. You're a killer. What is elite about that? I really mean that. There is nothing elite. These are thugs and frauds and con men and women who steal to get the money that they have. These are peasants. These are lowlifes. You're not even actually my mother. And it's a good thing I don't even refer to you that way. I stopped referring to her as mom a long time ago. You are clearly not my mother. You're not you're not a mom and you're not my mom gang stalking me, which I already know. And I'm going to prove what I know to a court. While she's cackling. You see her? She's a psychopath. All over my documentation when she's being documented. Like it's the funniest thing ever. That's a demon. That is a demon. Laughing, a fraud, laughing about, there's nothing funny. And she was doing that while she's been lying about being my mother. She is not my biological mother. This is very key in the prosecution of the U.S. government. While they want to just provide all kind of evidence about the plane activity in the background, please go ahead, continue to do it. They were doing it all day long. They do it every single day. Thank you. You're going to prison though. You're going to prison. You want to have the entity engaging in gang stalking me at this obvious level. Do not forget that Tracy Banks is engaged in what is stealing my property for years, lying about her identity, both as my biological mother and engaging in what is defrauding me and stealing my identity, which the government is not ignorant because the government, as you know now, is engaged in surveillance. They're targeting me in concert with Tracy Banks. They know exactly who she is. They know she's not my mother and they know that she's engaged in that. In fact, they are targeting me together by her fraudulent means of stealing my identity and lying about her identity to me for my entire life. It is within the government's pattern of conduct. So I just want to be clear on that. I want to cover that. And that's why you had these little demon-possessed little bastards over here, gang stalking me, their demon-possessed parents, sicking them on me. None of these things work. And you're not elite. They're a bunch of thugs. Okay? They're high school dropouts. Okay, they are lowlifes, and I'm just going to put it that way, because that's exactly what it is. These are a bunch of lowlifes, uneducated, desperate criminals, and they think a whole bunch of idiots together are going to outthink me or outmaneuver me with what? Your engineer light? Your light slinging? I'm going to stop documenting, and the evidence is going to be less probative because you fling light over here? That makes you feel better in the second? That second, okay, well, tomorrow you're going to prison. But again, you don't have a strategy and you are not elite. That's why you look bat poo crazy all over the internet. And that's why everything's being put in its proper perspective. I was never, ever the one, nor does my history support any of the lies that have been stated on my character, but it serves the government that is stalking me in furtherance of murder. It serves that pattern of conduct. The demons that are monitoring, it serves that pattern of conduct. They're targeting someone who has been lied to about who her mother is. They're targeting someone who has been repeatedly kidnapped by a government that makes up information about that person that they're stalking. They happen to be a bunch of stalkers who are sharing a supernatural pattern of conduct, not just a pattern of conduct. Like your pattern of conduct is every time you walk toward me, you start jumping on your left leg. Everybody does it. They all do the same thing. They take 3 steps forward and then they jump on their left leg. They all share that pattern of conduct. Okay, well, it's a supernatural pattern of conduct that you take 3 steps forward and then you start levitating in the air and then you drop down on the ground. That's supernatural. That's something that is outside of what is an ordinary pattern of conduct, how you start levitating like that. Those are demons. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. This is above what is an ordinary pattern of conduct. You engage in conduct that is identifiable. You document that pattern of conduct, and it is no less probative. In fact, it is more probative that the pattern of conduct is demonic. It's supernatural. It's impossible to naturally occur. You aren't doing anything other than stalking as a system at the OVITT Family Community Library, where they're providing evidence against all these demons who are going to prison. That's how smart they are. That's how bright they are. Clearly, their intelligence is not equated with the engineer light that they're shining all over the place, because they're in complete, utter darkness. These are fools. These are fools. And they never learn. They are not elite at all. They're not even intelligent. They're not savvy. They're not methodical. They're not tactical. They have no plan. All they do is stalk. All they do is monitor. All they do is harass. All they do is lie. All they do is steal. That's it. That's it. That's not a system. This was designed for me to expose and break it down so that it could never, ever be reassembled. These ignoramuses came together and they came and targeted me. And it is the groundwork for exposing terrorism in the United States and also the evidence of what is criminal surveillance in the United States by the U.S. government in concert with the so-called civilian population. And that's what they're referred to under the Constitution, the civilian population. But these are not civilians, clearly. These are demons. These are barbarians. These are Neanderthals. These are animals. But they are, under the law, they're going to be treated as what they are. The people of the state are criminals. The people of the state are in the shoes of the government. They're not private citizens. And they are in on the conspiracy to commit murder. And they've conspired to murder somebody who has been lied to about who her biological mother is. And that is for a very specific purpose. So that Tracy Banks can stand in that position and profit off of what was a conspired murder. That's what's relevant behind plain activity competing with my voice at 215 East C Street at the OVITT Family Community Library. And little demons under the age of 15 stalking me on the side of the OVITT Family Community Library. The OVITT Family Community Library, where the fake son, as a matter of evidence, is present from 7 a.m. until after 6 p.m. in the evening. The evidence where I'm subject to kidnapping by the gang members of the Ontario Police Department, who have provided so much evidence. There will be no controversy regarding all the defendants sharing in criminal monitoring and kidnapping upon criminal defamation on June 16, 2022. Because they're going to prison. They're going straight to prison. And they are so psychotic. They're very disturbed inside of that OVITT family. Those demons inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, they are psychotic. They're going to prison, and they do not slow down with their psychopathic pacing, audible activity creation. These are demons who are monitoring, and they engage in more and more of it. They need to be restrained. They must be put in prison for the safety of the public. They are very sick, very sick. A normal, sane person or people, even if they were just even if they were just criminals that together concocted a plan against someone. Okay, people don't want to go to prison, okay? That's normal. Self-preservation is instinctual. Okay, it was fun, all right, until I thought I was going to get away with it. I'm not getting away with it. Okay, I don't want to. That's not a demon. That's not a demon. They are severely mentally ill. The plane activity, the helicopter activity, the light activity, this is what lets you know that. This is all concentrated inside of a building, which is the OVITT Family Community Library, and they are severely mentally ill. It is an up-close and personal insight. The ability to study the mentally ill that are gang stalking throughout the state of California while they are criminally monitoring. They're engaging in conspicuous surveillance and stalking. All they're doing is coming in and stalking all day long in the library. They just sit in there, let me grab a newspaper, I'm gonna grab a book, we're gonna bring some checkers, bring in the developmentally challenged, let them twitch and yell out loud with their Tourette syndrome in the engineer light and monitor the targeted individual. Yeah, we're just gonna pace around in and out through all the doors. All right, that's all, and they do more and more of it. And you're going to prison. Do you not understand that? Do you not get that you are going to prison? It's not a suggestion. There's no return to sender for judgment. It's not a maybe. They are mentally ill, for real. These are people who are not, I just want to be clear, they are not accustomed to that. And I'm not saying that they're upper class. They're clearly not. They're vagina monitors. But what they are not accustomed to is federal prison. And they are just going 375,000 miles toward it right off the precipice. They're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. They are abnormally sick in the mind. And they have not stopped targeting, harassing, terrorizing. The demons in them provoke them to their own demise, and they are going to prison for it. And this is judgment to them. For all the people that Mickey thinks it's funny to gang stalk people, she's going to be in prison. And I hope she keeps that sense of humor. This is a psychopath that's infuriated while I speak the truth about you. It's the truth. And it's the demons in you that are infuriated by that. Because you should be ashamed and you should stop. But because you are actually a psychopath who is fully capable of murder, you are a bad person. Yes, you are. You're an evil, wicked person. You're very, very sick. And you make up a whole entity, some of which are employed at the OVITT Family Community Library. Demons, like cockroaches, are not slowing down in federal group stalking and monitoring. And because of that, because of kidnapping, because of criminal summoning, because of ongoing incessant harassment, psychopathic beliefs, thoughts that are manifesting into your behavior that is only harming yourself, you're going to prison. And it's because you're sick. You wouldn't even stop to help yourself. That's what my documentation shows. This is the P.O.C. So I just wanted to go into that. That's what's relevant behind the entity. 8:06 and then 8:08, and you heard it again, 8:09 p.m. There's no planes taking off over here. And that's fully going to be demonstrated, and I've stated this before with regard to everything. The train activity. You're not going to hear train activity all throughout the city of Ontario. It's not going to be competing with my voice. You're not going to hear it inside of Tracy Banks' apartment like I've documented. You're not going to hear it inside the car that I'm sleeping in at Vine Avenue and G Street. You're not going to hear it inside of the library. You're not going to hear it in the bathroom inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. The entity is engaging what is stalking. The fact that the entity is surrounding you with that audible noise lets you know that you have eyes and ears that are on you. You are under surveillance, and they're demons. That impossible means of audible activity is demonic. And it's informing you that surveillance is underway. That ongoing light activity that is supernatural, it's demonic. And it is informing you that ongoing criminal surveillance is underway. That also they also employ technology, absolutely. Okay, this AI phenomenon, I just want to let you know you're looking at what is a technological means of demonic spirits that are monitoring you. They're mimicking human beings. Those are monitoring spirits. I just want to let you know that. And monitoring spirits which want to be more and more and more like us, quote unquote, replacing us. I just want to be clear, just like Satan, who wants to be God, that's manifesting with regard to people, monitoring other people and wanting to replace them. Tracy Banks could never replace me. First of all, you don't even look like me. I do not look like 60 anything, ever. I just want to be clear. This is ridiculous. The things that I am being confronted with, the ideas that I'm being confronted in the demons that I did not know that they were demons, obviously, but the people that are formerly associated with that fed into clear, obvious, glaring lies, showing how much of a fool each and every single last one of them are. Satan easily overcame them, very easily. And that is for my demise, because I will, God bless you. I hope you get it together, but there will be no ever. That was it. You're out. But I will be prosecuting you, though. Okay? It's not personal. Wish you the best. But I will be prosecuting you. These are the consequences. And this is about American citizens. You don't have a defense with regard to domestic terrorism in the U.S. I'm going to let you know right now, you do not have a constitutional defense. Somebody threatening you to conspire while an American citizen is on the streets every day being gang stalked by a population, while I'm showing you this and being kidnapped and being sexually violated, and you're talking, oh, I was threatened because they said if I didn't do this, and so I had to go in the court and perjure myself. You're going to prison. I'm going to let you know that right now. You're going to federal prison. It is not a defense, just like with regard to murder. Claiming you don't have a defense with regard to murder. Oh, somebody made me do it. I was threatened. There are crimes where the threat, the harm is suffered, and it is too high of a crime to provide that way of avoiding it. So I just want to be clear. It's the same with domestic terrorism. The government and a population is targeting, and their life remains at threat 24 hours a day for so long as that ongoing pattern of conduct remains under the way. And the federal government has been dragging its feet, sitting around studying me, maintaining an ongoing science experiment. So because you can't kill me with witchcraft. So because I'm not going to go crazy with your ongoing psychological torture tactics. So now you're just sitting back, gang stalking and targeting and sexually violating me as a government body, and just sitting back studying and fascination. It's equally terrorism. And I'm going to prosecute you for it. It is disgusting. You're sitting back and watching the city of Ontario targeting me. There is no amount of money. I just want to be clear. There's no amount of money that's going to make this go away. I hope that that's clear. There is no amount of money that's going to make this go away. And there is no question about what has been happening from beginning to end. There is no question about what the U.S. government has been doing. And there will be no question, no reasonable question. You will not be able to overwhelm and dilute the truth that I've been speaking for years. And the P.O.C. and I myself, my voice is not going to disappear. And you're not able to use me and what it is that I've documented and make it seem like, oh yeah, well, she said this and it sounded like she had a good point, but she didn't really. And after all that, she was just a crackhead. And then that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You will not be, under no circumstances will you be able to do that. This is an entity that's maintaining an experiment. So the world is sitting back watching like it's a movie. And that is very sick conduct. It's not a compliment. It's sick. And the entity is doing so while, I want to be clear, predators like Tracy Banks, this is how they target relatives. This is how they target fake friends. This is how they target your colleagues. They're lying about their relationship with you. That's directly relevant to the ways in which the entity has conspired against you. You're not even my mother and you're acting like you are. And that's relevant to a government that knows also that you're not my mother while they're monitoring my vagina. Oh, they're co-conspirators. Even beyond what is my documentation of the Ontario International Airport stalking me at Woodside Senior Apartments over Tracy Banks' apartment is that fixing from sunrise till sunset. That's also where that plane activity, irreconcilable with Terminal 2 and Terminal 4, happening over the sky space of Woodside Senior Apartments, a multifamily zone, a senior citizen complex, where they're engaging in that P.O.C. with a bunch of demons that are deranged, monitoring spirits. And you know them by their deeds. They're maintaining some method of light activity. And it's impossible light activity when I've shown you how to scrutinize it. That doesn't even make any sense. That's not sunlight. That's not your normal light activity with regard to what is a reflection of sunlight. That's also, shadows do not appear above your head. Light is not manifesting out of nowhere above your head and creating flashing of light like there's a photo shoot and there's no cameras. That's not light. I'm showing you to pay attention. Those are demons. Those are monitoring spirits. And it's relevant to surveillance because the government's in on that. The government is in on that. The government that conspired against me by a fake mother, a fake brother, incestuous family members that are having sex with each other, keeping me out of the loop, also regarding money and property that they're all after while they practice witchcraft, hopping on each other's genitalia and not telling me their actual relationship with me. That's where you have demons that are stalking me at the OVITT Family Community Library, directly tied in. They know who Tracy Banks is to me. They're engaged in that lottery with regard to the price on my head. That's also why she's going to prison. That's why Mike Lorenz, federal prison. Paul Leon, prosecution. I'm going to prosecute a mayor for conspiring my murder. They are paid, incentivized to target as a city, as I've shown the city of Ontario, as I've shown the city of Fontana, as I've shown the city of Los Angeles. Alrighty, this is the pattern of conduct, which is speaking to an entity's pattern of conduct, not one person. But I have all simultaneously prosecuted the persons of OVITT Family Community Library because that's how this body of evidence works based on the way in which they're targeting as an entity. That entity's pattern of conduct is serving as a template to prosecute you. I prosecute all of them with their own template, with their pattern of conduct. This is what you're doing, and this is how you're doing it, and this is who did that, and they're going to prison for it. It's not a mystery. You're not prosecuting individuals, you're prosecuting an entity. The entity is acting through people. You're going to put those people where they belong based on the laws that they violate as they engage in the P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 9:15 p.m. This is the pattern of conduct. The entities engage in that. And I just want to be clear. Securitas gang stalking me, engage in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police Department, and also simultaneously engage in that pattern of conduct with regard to harassing me, molesting and terrorizing me with engineer light while I'm documenting. This is also Securitas. This particular third party, that's federal prison. That's a threat to my life. Those demons that are engaged in criminal summoning are in a position to murder and then control the narrative, turn their body cams on and off, and make up information amongst each other and the gang stalkers like Securitas and the people of the state, the demons that are stalking with light, monitoring together. Oh yeah, I saw her run toward the officer and then he had to pull her out. I mean, she's here every day and she's such a problem. We're all scared and it's really sad. I mean, she's such a beautiful girl and she could have had a bright future, but I just think that she's had a troubled history. That's exactly how they murder all the time. You know, it's the mentally ill. It was a mental illness issue. That's how they murder. You're going to prison for that. That unlawful threat, that threat is too high. You're going to prison for the threat posed to an American citizen. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:16 p.m. and I just wanted to make sure that is abundantly clear regarding the state of affairs. Tracy Banks not only is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is giving you also, you can review the evidence, how cold-blooded she is when the Ontario police are gang stalking me and she's engaging in psychological torture. She's not even my mother. That's part of the reason why she's a psychopathic gang stalker who could not care less with regard to what is deriving pleasure out of the spiritual attack that is gang stalking. She's a witch. She's a demon. All right. And she's a cold-blooded murderer. All right. And she is a would-be murderer of myself. This is why she's gang stalking a relative, lying about her relationship to me. OK, and everybody that she has paid, if you receive money to be mean to me. You received money to exclude me in your life. I just want to be clear. May the Lord have mercy on you. I'm past it. I'm a grown woman. I could not care less. What it is that I've learned is how actually easy it is for Satan to overwhelm people. And it's unfortunate because you're not for me. You're not my type of people in the first place. And that's okay. The thing about it is, I just want you to understand, no one could pay me. There's no amount of money that I could be paid. You can accept money, but I won't. There's no amount of money that anybody could pay me to ever entertain you ever again. So I want to make sure that that is abundantly clear. There will be no future with anybody that's had anything to do with Tracy Banks' genitalia. There is no amount of money that will ever change that. There's no circumstance that, oh, you don't understand that. I understand enough, and there's nothing that's going to change it. You were not there helping while I'm sleeping on the sidewalk. You were not there. You were under no circumstances helping while the demons are stalking me under a fake sun. Where were you at in 2018? What were you doing? Who were you humping on in 2020? Whose calls were you avoiding in 2021? Whose money were you stealing in 2022? Who were you laughing at in 2023? Because that's the same person who will never be speaking with you. It's never happening. And God bless you. It's okay. But you're going to have to live with that and also let it go. Let it go. Monitoring in the spirit makes you a demon. You're even more disqualified. It will never happen. It's never going to happen. Ever. Tracy Banks did me a service. That's what she served her purpose. She did me a service in exposing all the demons that needed to be removed. You are out and you are not coming back in. I just want to make sure that that is also clear. It is currently 9:19 p.m. It's Friday, January 16, 2026. This is P.O.C.